Welcome to the Boots, Beans, and Business, the podcast where we lace up for real talk about military life, savor the stories and science behind great coffee, and dive into the challenges and victories of running a small business. I'm your host, Dave, a Marine veteran, coffee enthusiast, and entrepreneur.
Our next guest over here helps out a lot of veterans with service dogs in a way that means a lot to them, too. He happens to be the owner of Combat Bean Coffee, Mr. Dave Rafis. Good morning, Dave.
Good morning.
Hey, thank you so much for taking time out of your Wednesday to join us here on The Morning Voice.
Well, thank you for having me this morning.
Hey, Matt and I love your coffee. Gets us fired up over here to talk politics, beat up on South Tucson, regular Tucson, unincorporated Pima County, and sometimes even the state of Arizona. That's how much we love Combat Bean Coffee.
There you go. It's always a good thing to be a helpful influence.
Without a doubt. Why don't you give our listeners a little bit background about you and who you are?
Well, I served 7 years in the Marine Corps and that was during Desert Storm. After getting out, I drove truck for about 18 years over the road, and it always cracked me up. My wife was like, "Why is it you don't drink coffee?" And I said, "I do. I just don't drink bad coffee." After retiring, we started the One Veteran Foundation, helping veterans with PTSD get service dogs. When I was diagnosed, there was nobody at that time that provided a service dog at what I felt was a reasonable cost. So we started the foundation, and since then, this month is our 10-year anniversary. We've trained 60-plus service dogs. We haven't had a single suicide with any of our veterans, so they're all still with us, thank God. And then after the Afghan war ended, sadly, they kind of became, for lack of a better term, an afterthought, so people didn't donate to us the way they used to, and that's when the idea for Combat Coffee Bean became an idea for us. And we started with four blends in 2024. We now have over 20 blends, and we donate a portion of every bag of coffee we sell to the One Veteran Foundation to help pay for service dogs, because in my opinion, a veteran should not have to pay for a service dog. And we promote our coffees, we donate to the foundation, and we help supply the service dogs for the veterans.
I love that. What an amazing cause, Dave. I mean, especially coming right after Veterans Day over here, too, yesterday. So first and foremost, thank you for your service to our country, right? Freedom is not free. We are all here today for citizens like yourself who have made both the ultimate sacrifice and sacrificed many good prime-earning years of their lives to defend our freedoms here in the United States. So thank you for your service, and thanks for doing that for our veterans over here. Like, what's the typical cost of a service dog? Like, what does that training cost? What's that worth?
When we started looking 10 years ago, we were like, let's go to California and see if we can buy them there and then bring them here and give them to our veterans. They wanted $30,000 for a service dog. So I'm like, well, I like Florida. I'll drive there. $25,000 for a service dog there. 100% of my nonprofit staff, with the exceptions of our trainers, are all volunteer. So we have built a network over the years of an all-volunteer service, and it costs us about $3,000 a dog. So,
okay, so that's a significant savings compared to, say, $30,000. I mean, that's a 90% off bill over there.
Yeah, we're doing it for about 10% of what others charge. We treat the dogs as if they're in the military. We put them in boot camp. They go to the trainers for approximately 6 to 10 weeks, depending upon how fast the dog learns. And then when they return back to their veteran, they then work with our trainers. And our training process from start to finish will take anywhere between 6 and 9 months. So we do have them on an accelerated process. And all of that is handled by my chairman and my board members. So if somebody is in need of a service dog and have been clinically diagnosed with PTSD, they can reach out to the oneveteranfoundation.org, and that's the number one, veteranfoundation.org and submit for a request. If they have a dog that we can work with, we will. But our requirements are pretty strict in the form the dog has to be over 40 pounds and between 1 and 3 years of age. And if those dogs qualify for that, then they get set up with an interview. We interview both the veteran and the dog to see if we're going to be a good fit. Sadly, there have been a few that we weren't a good fit for, so we've had to refer them to other places. But for the biggest part of it is making sure the vet is willing to put in the work, because the dogs are the easy part. The vets, because of their situation, some of them will be like, yes, I'm all for this. And then some will be like, gosh, this is more work than I expected. Having a service dog is work, and they have to put in that work. If they do, they go through our program, they graduate. Congratulations, you've completed our program. The dog is yours free of charge.
Wow, that's a pretty amazing benefit when you think about what just the cost of a trained animal like that is worth, I guess I should say, on the open market. It sounds like they're worth far more than that, though. They're basically invaluable to helping out veterans with PTSD, no?
Yes. Yeah. When we started this, we ended up with my service dog. We went to Pima Animal Control, and when I was a truck driver, I used to rescue healers. Healers were the breed that I loved working with.
I love Australian cattle dogs. Blue and red healers. I've had a couple in a row before we had boxers. They're a little bit smarter than the boxers, huh?
Yeah. They are high energy dogs. If you give them a job, they're absolutely fantastic dogs. If you don't, you have a four-legged terrorist. But we went to Pima Animal Control, wanted to adopt a healer puppy, found one, and then they told me I couldn't have it because it was on enforcement hold. And as I was walking out, I found Manifa, and then she became our very first service dog. And because of Manifa, we built the foundation, and we built it around her and moved forward.
Amazing. Well, Dave, why don't we take a quick break over here? When we come back, we're going to have more fascinating conversation with Dave Rafus. He's the owner of Combat Bean Coffee. They are helping out veterans over here with service dogs. Don't go anywhere. A little bit of Veterans Day love on The Morning Voice. You're listening to Grant Krueger and Matt Neely on 1030 a.m. You're home for local news and talk. Welcome back to The Morning Voice. I do love coffee and tea, quite frankly. I am Grant Krueger, your host. Love to spend Wednesday mornings with you. Every weekday, 7 to 9 a.m., you get The Morning Voice. On Mondays, you've got Lydia Aranda. On Tuesdays, Ted Maxwell from the Southern Arizona Leadership Council. He had a great interview with Pima County Supervisor Steve Christie yesterday. If you missed it, you can catch that at KVOI.com and look up the pod. On Wednesdays, you get me. Food for thought. Local restaurants, business development with just a little dose of politics on the side. On Thursdays, you've got Tom Moulton from the Southern Arizona Attractions Alliance. And on Fridays, Dr. Ed Ackerley bringing you wonders from the University of Arizona. Meanwhile, we are enjoying a great cup of coffee over here with Combat Coffee Bean owner Dave Rafus. Welcome back, Dave.
Thank you.
Hey, this is a great coffee we're having over here. What blend do we have at the Morning Voice today?
Right now, you have the Falcon Fuel, which is from Tanzania. It's grown on Mount Kilimanjaro at the higher altitudes. It gives it that smoother flavor that everybody's looking for. It is a medium roast, and we have several others that are kind of like that. We have coffees that are sourced from all over the world. We have coffee from Brazil, Colombia, Costa Rica, Uganda, Tanzania, Mexico. So we have a lot of very well-blended coffees right now.
It sounds like it. That's pretty awesome. One thing maybe our listeners don't know is that coffee really isn't made inside of the United States. And when we get into the business climate that we're in today, when you talk about tariffs, you talk about taxing things that come from outside the United States, business owners such as yourself and myself, when you think of, say, tequila, right, that you can't get in the United States either, like, you've got products like coffee that come from all over the world. How's the tariff situation affecting Combat Coffee Bean?
Well, because of the tariffs, we can no longer absorb the cost of those tariffs, so we have had to have a slight coffee price increase in the form that we can no longer do the free shipping. We have to cover our overhead and things like that, like shipping, picking, the cost to get everything to where it needs to be. So we are doing everything we can do to keep our prices lower, but there's currently a drought in Brazil and in Vietnam where they're not producing coffee to the level that they used to. And according to ICE, which is the International Coffee Exchange.
That's not Immigration and Customs Enforcement over there. Be careful when you say ICE. You know, in Tucson these days, my friend.
Yeah, no, I know. With the International Coffee Exchange, prices have been going up exponentially with the tariffs on Brazil, which is the number one coffee producer in the world, which is one of the number one beans that are used when you mix and blend coffees. They blend coffees from Brazil, Colombia, and India when you get blended coffees. So those are all things that are affecting the prices. When they put a 50% plus tariff on Brazil, it exponentially raised the prices. So what's happening now is these countries are sending coffee beans to Asia and to Europe because they can make more money. Any business worth anything is going to go where they can make the most money. And these tariffs, while I truly understand why we have them, they are a necessity and need for fair trade across the board. They have increased our coffee prices.
Without a doubt. And it's a difficult situation because I also understand where you're going for with tariffs. I obviously I'd like to see a reciprocal reduction in, say, income tax, which we've only had in the last 100 years, to have these tariffs offset that. But there are certain products that you just can't get in the United States. There is no domestic coffee production inside of the U.S. And so we drink a lot of coffee in the United States, right? We get kind of excited about this. There aren't domestic alternatives, I suppose, unless you look for a different caffeinated beverage altogether.
No. With coffee, the U.S. doesn't have the climate to grow coffee, and at least quality coffee. So what we do...
US, right. I mean, yeah.
So, and then it's one of those situations where you have to go where the product grows. And I look at it in the aspects is that not to get political, but President Trump is doing what he has to do to raise money for this country. And the thing that cracks me up is they create cutouts for other products like aviation parts. Why not coffee? You know, coffee is probably one of the number one consumed products here in America. We are the number one coffee drinking country in the world. And like if you go to Europe, surprisingly, Denmark drinks more coffee than anybody. In the world, we drink more coffee than anybody. So if they were to put a carve out, and I recommend everybody do reach out to their representatives to put a carve out in there for that, then it'll lower the coffee prices. So these tariffs are hurting. They're not destroying yet, but they are hurting them to where I was reading the other day that there are several East Coast and Midwest coffee chains that are filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection because due to the rising price of coffee and poor management, they're having to restructure because people don't have that disposable income right now. With our customers, a large number of them are government employees. You know, we try to, with our aviation themed coffee, it's in honor of those that have served. So we do have a large portion of service members that drink our coffee. Well, if they're not getting paid, they can't buy coffee. So hopefully this shutdown ends very quickly. They can get their paychecks and they can start buying coffee again.
Without a doubt. We're having a great conversation over here with Dave Rafus. Dave is the owner of Combat Coffee Bean. And Combat Coffee Bean helps support the One Veteran Foundation that helps provide service dogs to veterans with PTSD. You guys have provided over 60 service dogs, you said?
Yes. In the past 10 years, we've provided over 60 service dogs. We've had 0 suicides, and we've had a number of success stories. We had one of our veterans went to medical school and is now a physician assistant. We've had other ones that have become EMTs, nurses, and stuff along that lines. So we're pretty proud of our record.
That's pretty amazing. And you were saying service dogs, to be compatible, they need to be over 40 pounds, between 1 and 3 years of age. Are there specific breeds you guys look for in service dogs, like certain dogs that make better ones than others?
We don't go for breed, we go for bond. We want to make sure that the dog bonds with that veteran because that's the most important thing. And we have had a tremendous amount of luck with pit bulls and huskies. We've had a couple German shepherds come through.
Sure, very smart dogs as well, too, of course.
Yeah, but like I said, we've had, pit bulls get a really bad rap, but they're nanny dogs. And they're very lovable. They're very kind. They're very good at sensing what's going on with the person near them. So all the dogs are trained for emotional awareness, for the PTSD, the anxiety, the depression. They can sense when somebody is about to become depressed or about to have an anxiety attack or a panic attack, because dogs can pick up over 100,000 different smells. And when the human body has a hormone change for their emotions, so say they're about to have an anxiety attack, their hormones will change in their body. The dogs can smell that change, and then the dog goes to that veteran and they do something as simple as petting the dog and taking their attention from where it was going to the dog. And it disrupts that thought pattern. So therefore, something as simple as petting the dog calms them down, and then the panic attacks become fewer and fewer and fewer.
I love it. There is something very therapeutic about petting a dog. I know when I come home from an 18-hour day in the restaurant, being greeted by my pair of best friends out there, that when I arrive at home, no matter what hour of the night it is, late, early, whatever, it's like the best thing that happened in their entire world when they show up to greet you over there. And it's such a great feeling to have that bond, that emotional connection with your best friend like that. And it's a really awesome thing, Dave, that you're bringing that to our veterans as well, too.
Yes, and that's why we do have the coffee company, is to be able to help keep this nonprofit going. In the 10 years, I've sadly seen nonprofits come and go, which happens daily. So the fact that we made it 10 years, I am very happy about that. A little surprised, because when we started this, it kind of started with just an idea of me sitting on the couch going, hey, there's nobody here. We could do this. And now, thankfully, there are an abundance of service dog trainers here in town, which are helping out our veterans. And people are like, well, don't you get jealous? And I'm like, the more people we have doing this, the more veterans we can help. And that's what it's about. It's not about me. It's about helping our veterans.
I love it. I think that's a great place to take another quick break over here. Hear from some great local sponsors that help make AM radio possible. At KVOI, we love talking all things local over here. We're going to have one more segment with Dave Rathis, Combat Coffee Bean, coming up. We're going to talk about where you can help out and where you can get that great coffee. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Grant and Dave on The Morning Voice, 10:30 a.m., your home for local news. And welcome back to The Morning Voice. I'm your host, Grant Krueger. Matt Neely, you are always coming up with the music hits, thematically aligned with our guests over here. And speaking of our guests, we've got one more segment with Mr. Dave Rathis. He's the owner of Combat Coffee Bean. We're talking all things great coffee this morning on The Morning Voice. One of my favorite beverages, keeps us moving over here at KVOI. So how many different types of coffee do you have available on your website?
Right now, we have approximately 20 plus different coffee offerings. We have some flavored coffees, like we are just now releasing our Christmas Carol coffee to get ready for the holiday seasons. We have pumpkin spice, which we do carry all year round. But we have a number of medium roast, light roast, dark roast, and we also have our Eagle Espresso for the espresso drinkers out there.
Ooh, I love a good espresso over there. That's fantastic.
Yeah, we've got, this one is a blend of 6 different beans from around the world that makes up our espresso.
Very cool. Now, these coffees aren't available at a brick and mortar right now, right? But you do some farmers markets?
Yes, yeah. So right now they can go online to thecombatcoffeebean.com, and that's our website where they can order their coffee and have it delivered to their house. And we are now at the Foothills Community Market at the old Foothills Mall on Saturdays and Sundays from 10 in the morning till 3 in the afternoon, where we bring out bags of whole bean coffee. And should somebody not have a grinder, we do have our commercial grinder there, and we can grind it fresh right in front of them.
Oh, that's so cool. So you can grind it to order, like right at that moment, and I can take home fresh Combat Coffee bean.
Yes, when we tell people we have the freshest coffee, we mean it, because when somebody orders it, they will pull it in the green bean form. They'll put it in the roasters. They'll roast it right then. They'll bag it, tag it, and ship it in the same day. So you're getting the freshest, fresh roasted coffee you can get, and it's delivered to your door.
Very cool. How many of those 20-plus flavors can I get at, say, the farmer's market out there? Are you bringing all 20?
No, we will generally have a light roast, a medium roast, and a dark roast. And occasionally we do have our breakfast blend coffees, which one of them is called the Foundation. It's a breakfast blend with extra Indonesian Robusto beans mixed with it. So it gives it that extra caffeine punch. And then we, like I said, we have it in whole bean form. If they don't have that, we can grind it in front of them. And I like to have fun with them because, like, when I open the bag, I let them get a smell of this awesome coffee. And then after we grind it for them, they fall in love with the bag. They fall in love with the coffee.
I love it. And so this is available 24/7 online, or basically the farmer's market on Saturdays and Sundays right now.
Yes.
Are you looking to spread Combat Coffee Bean into other locations?
Right now, we are looking to get them into local restaurants, hotels, small businesses. So if anybody has a small business or a restaurant that would like to have the best coffee, I feel, around, then all they have to do is reach out to us. They can do that through our website at thecombatcoffeebean.com. There will be a small pop-up. They can fill it out. I will get it, and we will be back in touch with them to ensure that we get them what they're looking for.
Very cool. Do you guys have other social media avenues as well, too?
Yes, we are on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. We have a lot of information on those sites that we put out daily, and we try to keep everybody up to date with news as we get it, because I try to be very transparent with individuals coming to us. I believe honesty is the best policy, and I update them with stuff on tariffs, what's going on with the coffee beans. We're going to be putting out short videos on social media about where the beans are sourced and the coffee that goes with that type of bean.
Very cool. And Combat Coffee Bean donates a portion of your proceeds of every bag of coffee to One Veteran Foundation. One more time, tell our listeners about One Veteran Foundation.
So we donate a portion of every coffee bag that we sell to the One Veteran Foundation, which is a local nonprofit that provides PTSD service dogs for veterans. We've been doing it 10 years now, and we haven't had a single suicide. So if people want to learn more about that, they can go to the oneveteranfoundation.org. That's the number one veteranfoundation.org, and you can learn more about the One Veteran Foundation also.
I love it. Dave, thank you so much for taking time out of your Wednesday morning to join us over here on The Morning Voice. And a big thank you for your service as well to our country on the day after Veterans Day over here. I just have to say a big thank you for your service in the Gulf War, sir.
No, well, thank you.
And so, listeners, get out there, check out the CombatCoffeeBean.com for some delicious coffee over here. Matt and I are enjoying some of the Falcon Fuel. We're going to bring you a whole nother Falcon-fueled hour of Morning Voice goodness coming up after the break. I'm going to have some restaurant news, some openings and closings of things popping up over here in the Old Pueblo. Lots of fun local news with Matt and I coming up after the break. Mr. Dave Rafus, it has been a pleasure to get to spend part of Wednesday morning with you and caffeinate with you, sir.
Oh, well, thank you. Caffeine is always a good thing.
Without a doubt. Let's end on that one. Cut to some local sponsors over here that help make local radio possible. Thank you for advertising. Reach out to us if you are looking to advertise on The Morning Voice. We do appreciate that one. In another hour with Mr. Neely and myself coming up after the break on 10:30 a.m. The Voice, your home for local news and talk.
There's nothing better than waking up to the smell of fresh baked Cinnabons, except maybe having that warm, cozy aroma in your morning coffee. Christmas Carol Coffee captures the magic of the holidays in every cup, blending the comforting flavors of cinnamon, sweet icing, and soft pastries right into your brew. Every cup is like a warm hug on a chilly morning, crafted for those who serve and those who savor the season. Bring home the taste of the holidays. Order Christmas Carol Coffee at CombatCoffeeBean.com.